Today I am here with chapter number 1. In previous class we have studied about what is the reproduction. In simple case we have discussed about the asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction means a reproduction where is the single parent is involved. There is the male and female type of condition is not there. Only the single parent is there. Mitotic division, meiosis cannot be completed. And one more thing, in case of that type of asexual reproduction, the one more thing is there. In that thing, here is the simple part of the progeny is just similar with parent, means that is the clone, morphological as well as genetical, that is the identical with parents. That's why asexual reproduction, the progeny is also known as the clone. All these are the simple characteristics of asexual reproduction and different methods of asexual reproduction. Where is the one part? In case of that part, the one part means various methods of asexual reproduction. First is fission, second is budding, third is fragmentation, fourth is regeneration, and fifth is spore formation and vegetative propagation. Now this time, today we have studied about the sexual reproduction. In case of the sexual reproduction, very simple aspect means a reproduction where is the two parents, one as a male parent, another as a female parent. Second, here is the meiosis is there, meiosis division, I mean gamete formation of gametes. And third case, definitely there is the variation is there of progeny, of spring. And third case, there is the fertilization, means formation of zygote. Here is the one thing is there. Asexual reproduction means the reproduction where is the two parents, one as a male, another as a female. Male parent have produced the male gametes, female parent have produced the female gamete. And second case, in case of sexual reproduction, the meiosis is compulsory because that is again the part of reproductive phase. Meiosis means reduction division, whereas the chromosome becomes the half. Gamete formation process will be completed. After then, there is the progeny is variant from the parent, that is the variation is there, and fertilization, the fusion of male and female gamete, that process is known as the fertilization, means the zygote will be there. So, one more part will be there. In case of that part, again the embryo formation will be there, that is also known as the embryo genesis. So, all these are the characteristics of the sexual reproduction, and the sexual reproduction is present in higher organisms, whatever type of the higher organism, that may be flowering plants or that may be animals, or in case of all type of chordates and non-chordates animals, some non-chordates animals just contain the sexual reproduction. Now this time we have the another term will be there. In case of the sexual reproduction, whatever type of organism is there, they have just go through the particular phase. In case of that phase, the first content, in case of that phase means a organisms have just in the life, there is the three phases are there. A organism just go through the three phases. In case of the sexual reproduction, first pre-fertilization, another words we can say pre-reproductive phase, and second is the reproductive phase. and last is the post reproductive phase. Those organisms which have go through the sexual reproduction. In case of sexual reproduction, there is that organism have contained the three phases. In these three phases, pre-reproductive phase, reproductive phase, and post-reproductive phase. First of all, we have discussed about the pre-reproductive. Pre-reproductive means there is the previous stage. In that stage, the growth as well as development as well as the maturity will be there. All these are the part of pre-reproductive phase. And reproductive phase means there is the fertilization, gamete formation, as well as embryo development, Embryo Genesis. All these are generally the phenomena of the reproductive phase. And in case of post-reproductive phase, there is what will be happen. In case of post-reproductive phase, we have the one part in case of the old age, as well as we can say senses, where that particular means after then they have the death will be there. So in case of the organisms, those organisms which have go through the sexual reproduction, there is the three phases: pre-reproductive phase, reproductive phase, and post-reproductive phase. Reproductive phase means there is a organism have the growth, development, maturity, and after that maturity they have just becomes the particular part of gamete formation, fertilization, and embryo genesis. All these are the part of reproductive phase. And one more thing, that particular part of post-reproductive phase. Post-reproductive phase means old age. They have to lose the capacity of reproduction, and that is also known as the sense age. And after then that part, they have the death. So there are the different reproductive phase. Now this time we have just go through the particular terms, which terms are related with the sexual reproduction. First of all, we have the one term is there. In case of that phase, a organisms that is just go through the particular part of the juvenile. Juvenile means juvenile phase, as well as juvenile means what? In case of the animals, those animals which have the puberty, means they have just go through the growth, and after that growth they have that part of maturity. Maturity is there, growth is there, and a organisms just the part which will be becomes ready for the reproduction, and that previous age is known as the juvenile phase. Same case with plant also. In case of plants, that juvenile phase is also known as the, in case of that part of juvenile, we can say just growing phase. Growing phase, that is also known as the juvenile. But in case of plants, that is also known as the vegetative phase. Vegetative phase means a plant which will be again the growing factors. When that have just passed to the growing factor, then that is known as the vegetative phase. In case of animals, that is the juvenile phase, or in case of plants, that is also known as the vegetative phase. Second thing, on the basis of that part, here is the one thing is there. Sometimes the particular term which will be related, the plants, animals, different organisms. In case of that organisms, we can classify into the two forms on the basis of sexuality. So in that part, we have organism sexuality. On the basis of sexuality of organisms can be classified into the two parts. सेक्सुअलिटी के बेसिस पे ऑर्गेनिज्म को हम लोग टू पार्ट्स में डिवाइड कर सकते हैं, बाइसेक्सुअल ऑर्गेनिज्म और यूनिसेक्सुअल ऑर्गेनिजम्स. Bisexual organism means what will be happen? A organism which have contain the both as well as male as well as female, यानी मेल और फीमेल गैमेट्स दोनों एक ही ऑर्गेनिज्म में प्रेजेंट होते हो तो उस टाइप के ऑर्गेनिज्म को हम बाइसेक्सुअल बोलेंगे, यानी ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ सेक्सुअलिटी. फॉर एग्जांपल, सिंपल earthworm is there. In case of earthworm is the bisexual organism, and sometimes the sponge is also there. That is again one part, that is the bisexual. Another term will be there, that is the unisexual. Uni means one, bi means two, one मेल एंड फीमेल, और यूनि मीन्स वन, या तो वो आपके पास में मेल होगा या वो आपके पास में फीमेल होगा, और द फीमेल. That's why the type of organisms are known as the unisexual. For example, in your NCERT textbook, the diagram is given to you, that special example for animals, that is the cockroach. In case of that part of cockroach is the unisexual, whereas the male and female both are separated. After then we have the one more thing is there. We have on the basis of sexuality just first part, that is the bisexual, and second part, that is the unisexual. Now this time we have discussed two more term will be there. In case of these terms, the first part, that is the monoecious. Actually monoecious organism means what? A organism which have contain monoecious as well as, that is also known as the homothelic. Monoecious as well as homothelic, a plant body, a animal which have contain the both part, means a part where is the male and female both is there. A body, a organism which contain the male part as well as female part, yani male and female both are present in same thallus or the same body, then that is the monoecious. And that type of thallus is also known as the homothelic. So one word is the monoecious, another is the homothelic. In case of that part, we have just go through the particular part of the monoecious. There is the two part. In case of that part, first the kara, that is example is given in NCERT, and one more, that is the coconut. The coconut is again the monoecious part will be there. Second part, there is the one more term in that things means monoecious, homothelic, as well as we can say definitely that is the bisexual term also. What term is there? Bisexual. And now this time another term will be there, that is the dioecious. In case of that part of dioecious means, another words we can say, that is the heterothelic. What term will be there? Heterothelic. Dioecious as well as heterothelic. A organisms means that have separate. In another words we can say male and female both are the separated. Male is in different organism and female in different organism. That is the dio means two, or hetero means others. Male in different, female in different. That's why that is the heterothelic. And one more thing, in case of that is also term the using, there is the bisexual in monoecious, or here is the unisexual part will be there. Or in case of a special example, the particular in plant part, for example, the Morkensia will be there. And one more part will be there, that special example, papaya, or definitely that question in the previous CBSE exam. A farmer which have just grown only the one type of plant, only one plant in their part, but after some time that observe that there is the fruits is not formed. Why? Because the papaya is unisexual. Only one papaya plant will be there. In that case, only that may be male or that may be female, means that may be staminate or that may be pistillate. या तो उसके साथ में मेल पार्ट है तो staminate और फीमेल प्रोडक्टिव पार्ट है तो pistillate. So that's why that is the dioecious as well as heterothallic, or one more term is there, unisexual. Now this time, in case of that reproductive phase, we have one more thing is there. In that thing means what will be there? The simple part, that is the two special type of changes will be there. One is the ostrial cycle and second is the menstrual cycle. In case of ostrial cycle and menstrual cycle, that is the especially a reproductive phase in that part of mammals part. In case of that mammals, ostrial cycle is present in non-primates and menstrual cycle is present in primates. Non-primates means, for example, cat, cow, or the goat, or the sheep, or number of examples is there, buffalo. Primates means human being will be there, and another words we can say apes or monkeys in case of that part. So ostial means what? Ostial is cycle. At that stage, the female just becomes the more exciting stage. There may be phase only 2 to 3 days, whereas the ovulation can be completed. Behavior will be change in ostrial cycle, but in menstrual cycle behavior is not change. Menstrual means monthly cycle, particular month, 2 month that cycle will be appeared, that is the menstrual cycle, or especially in the part of that part of menstrual cycle the bleeding process will be there, but in case of ostrial cycle that is not there. During the menstrual cycle the oogenesis process cannot be completed, but in case of the ostrial cycle oogenesis process is there. In the menstrual cycle the fertilization is not possible at the same time, but here is the possible. So that is the comparison between the ostrial cycle and the menstrual cycle. Now this time, sometimes what will be happen, a particular term will be there, and that term is again known as the hermaphrodite. Hermaphrodite means both organisms, or especially in case of animals, both means male as well as female, both is present in the same organism. That type of the organism is known as the hermaphrodite. Now this time we have one more term will be there. That term is the meiocyte. Meiocyte means a cell undergoes the meiosis. I mean a cell form the gamete. Gamete mother cell is known as the meiocyte. Gamete mother cell is known as the meiocyte. For example, in case of human being, the male gamete, there is the part of male gamete, that is the sperm, and female gamete, the term will be there, that is the egg cell is there, ovum. Then what happen? Here is the mother cell in 2n stage. Both the meiocyte, that is the 2n, means 46 chromosome. But in case of that particular part, 2n, mother cell contain the 2n stage 46 and 46, but when that have formed the gamete, then that is the n stage. N means, in other words, we can say N stage, male gamete and female gamete. Male gamete, that is the sperm, that is the N barabar 23, and ovum, that is the N barabar 23. Means what happened? The meocyte, there is a 2n barabar 46. Meocyte 2n is equal to 46, but here is the gamete, sperm and ovum, that is N is equal to 23 and 23, and that cell is specially known as the meocyte. For example, in other example will be there, 2n means that have just number of chromosomes, suppose 24, then gamete have contain the 12 chromosome. If suppose that contain the 12, 2n is equal to, then n is equal to 6 chromosome. That the primary or the mother gamete cell is known as the meocyte. Now this time we have the another term. In case of especially the sexual reproduction have the totally 3 phases. In case of the sexual reproduction, there is the events of sexual reproduction. The totally events will be there. In case of that part of events, in that part we have just go through the particular part of events. There is the 3. One is the pre-fertilization, second is the post-fertilization, and third is the pre-fertilization events of the sexual reproduction. There is the 3 events are there. First, pre-fertilization, fertilization and post-fertilization. Sexual reproduction have the 3 events. 3 events will be there. In case of these 3 events, first pre-fertilization, fertilization and post-fertilization. In case of pre-fertilization, there is the 2 events. One part, that is the gametogenesis, and second part, that is the transfer of gametes. And in case of fertilization, there is the again 2 types. Fertilization have takes place 2 forms. One is the internal fertilization, and another is the external fertilization. Or in case of post fertilization, first zygote to embryo genesis, fruit formation, and one more, seed formation. So in case of the sexual reproduction that have contain the 3 events, sexual reproduction contain the 3 events. Which are they? Then your answer, pre-fertilization contain, fertilization and post-fertilization. Means in the sexual reproduction 3 events are there. First, pre-fertilization, fertilization and post-fertilization. In case of pre-fertilization, means what happen? Here is the gametogenesis, means the formation of gametes. How the gametes are formed? Here is the 2 conditions will be there. In the maximum cases, for example, in case of human being, the gametes formation, that is the sperm is there. So sperm formation process is known as the spermatogenesis. Ovum is there, then that process is known as the oogenesis in female, spermatogenesis in the male. Both are the gametogenesis. In maximum cases, maximum cases the gametogenesis is the reductive division or the meiosis, but in case of that part of the lower organism, that body have the haploid form, there is the gametogenesis is the mitotic division. Transfer of gametes by the pollination is the again the transfer of gametes process will be there. Now this time when both the gametes are formed and gametes will be transferred to each other part, then the fusion of gametes, male gamete is fused with female gametes, and that is also known as the syngamy. Syngamy means fusion of male and female gamete, and that is also known as the fertilization, and the product is the zygote. Then what will be happen? Internal fertilization and external fertilization. Internal means when the male and female gamete are fused inside of female body, that is the internal fertilization. Or when, for example, in human being also. And external fertilization means when the male and female gamete are fused outside of female body, for example, frog is there. And third event, that is the post fertilization, when the fertilization takes over, the zygote formation. Zygote have the mitotic division, but in lower organism there is the meiosis also. Algae and another example is there. And the zygote is the embryo. The formation of embryo is known as the embryo genesis, and in plants also the ovary after fertilization change into the fruit. Fruit have again two forms. One is the true fruits, another is the false fruit, and the ovules have changed into the seed. So there is the maximum events of the sexual reproduction, and whatever type of thing is there, remaining part we will discuss in next part. Thanks a lot.